Hey Evan,
Yeah?
I finally finished it.
What?
I found out the history of the Slender Man.
Okay, so what's next?
I think I should explain it to you so we understand what our enemy is.
Okay.
So, the history of the Slender Man spans from now until 9000 BC. Well, I guess it's the opposite, 9000 BC until now. The earliest references to the Slender Man are from cave paintings in 9000 BC that seem to show a strange tall creature taking away a much smaller human. However, it is likely that this was only the first recorded sighting, and it is possible that the Slender Man may have existed shortly before the dinosaurs went extinct. The Slender Man appeared in 3100 BC in Egyptian hieroglyphics, where he was referred to as the thief of the gods. The Egyptian people believed him to be the corpse of a god who was betrayed by the other gods and killed and sent to Earth.
Okay.
In 1540, an unknown painter created Der Ritter, German for the Knight, a painting of a knight being attacked by a creature with tentacles and no face. It is legend that the painter was a knight who witnessed the event and escaped but killed himself after completing the painting. The painting baffled anybody who saw it, as none of them had ever seen the creature like what was in the painting. A journal entry from an unknown man dated 1702. My child, my Lars, he is gone, taken from his bed. The only thing that we found was a scrap of black clothing. It feels like cotton, but it is softer, thicker. Lars came into my bedroom yesterday, screaming at the top of his lungs that the angel is outside. I asked him what he was talking about, and he told me some nonsense story about Der Grossman. He said he went into the groves by our village and found one of my cows dead, hanging from a tree. I thought nothing of it at first, but now he was gone. We must find Lars, and my family must leave before we are killed. I am sorry, my son. I should have listened. May God forgive me. In the mid-1800s, a young girl was abused by her uncle. When her father finds out, he attempts to kill the uncle before realizing that the uncle was under the influence of something that they referred to as the tall man when they were kids, something the father believed was just their imagination, but after he had begun having nightmares about it, he realized it was real. The father is then killed by the uncle, and so is the girl's mother. The uncle takes the girl overseas and attempts to marry her. However, the boat crashes when the tall man appears and murders the uncle. The man driving the boat, the uncle's best friend, was also found with his throat slashed and several holes through his body. The young girl was the only one who survived the crash, and even though the boat crashed on an island, she was later found in Ontario, where she ended up living in a small town and growing up to marry a Canadian man and have his children. The girl's family name was changed due to marriage, and her distant relatives are unknown to the world. During World War II in 1941, a patrol sees something near a tree, but it disappears immediately and they assume they were seeing things. It appears close to the base 2 nights later, but once again disappears and is deemed to be a man trying to intrude the base. The next day it appears multiple times near the base, surviving unscathed when the soldiers fire at him. One of the soldiers realizes it's Der Grossman, a being he was told scary stories about when he was a child. A few days after this, Der Grossman killed everyone in the base except the man writing in the journal and 4 other soldiers who locked themselves in the food storage. 4 days after this, Der Grossman has started to kill the soldiers holed up in the storage until only the writer remained alive. Driven insane by Der Grossman's constant presence, he decides to go to sleep and is found dead along with other soldiers and with a hole ripped in his chest by American soldiers. His diary, containing records of his encounters with Der Grossman, is taken by a U.S. private who is found dead a few weeks later. This picture, Evan, this picture right here in 1986, in Sterling City, Butte County, California, was an apparent hotspot for Slender Man activity during the mid-1980s. It is rumored
There he is, right back there.
It is rumored the day the photo was taken, 14 children were reported missing. Following the 1986 Sterling City Library fire, a small number of photographs were recovered. One had been taken only a week earlier on June 1st, 1986, the date the 14 children are said to have disappeared, followed less than 2 weeks later by the disappearance of the photographer by the name of Mary Thomas. Some theorists claim that the figure on the left is in the photo is Slender Man, although officials have stated the extra appendages can be dismissed as film defects. At least one child did in fact vanish. 5 months later, the body of 4-year-old Joseph Prittman was found in the Great Swamp Nature Preserve in Kingston Falls, New Jersey. Deputy Sheriff Jim Stoltz told reporters from the Associated Press that the body was still in the early stages of decay, indicating that he was alive for at least 4 months after his disappearance. It is also reported that the body was found in a state of bizarre contortion, although the cause of death was never officially established. On April 21st, 1987, the Sterling City Post ran a story regarding a rash of animal mutilations in Sterling City that the Butte County Animal Control Department were attributing to coyotes. As many as 9 dogs and cats had gone missing since January and had been found in various states of decay. Many of the pets had been disemboweled or otherwise seriously mutilated. Animal Control Officer Joel Driscoll was quoted as saying the wounds were unusually precise and that it was rare that a wild animal would leave so much of the carcass uneaten. Also quoted in the story was a local man, David Elkins, who was the owner of the latest victim, a cat that had been disemboweled and mutilated. 82 days later, on July 12, 1987, police were called to the Elkins residence in Sterling by David Elkins, who had reported that his 8-year-old daughter, Katrina, had gone missing. The only possible witness of the disappearance was Katrina's 10-year-old sister, Alice, with whom she shared a bedroom. SCPD Sergeant William Hahn reported the last time Alice saw her sister was she was outside the window hugging the tall man. According to further statements by Alice, over the previous weeks, a man had been coming to the girl's bedroom window at night where he would tap on the glass, make faces, and watch the girls. However, police investigators initially dismissed the account as a dream, as the bedroom window in their house was second story with no support underneath it. In 2009, 3 skiers, Amanda Fisher, Douglas Ballinger, and Natasha Pierce, disappeared from their cabin in Meekin Mountains Resort, Jasper, Alberta. A day earlier, another friend, Thomas Chambers, left the party to return to Calgary, apparently due to health concerns. He was questioned by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police following the disappearance and allegedly informed that he had been left to recurring nightmares featuring a tall man in black peering into the cabin windows at night. Investigators have confirmed that they ruled Chambers out as a possible suspect but considered him a key witness. The source within RCMP, who spoke up on the condition of anonymity, revealed to the Calgary Sun that the officers had confiscated a digital camera and a camcorder at the time of the interview, which was never returned. However, RCMP was unable to question Chambers further as he vanished on January 21st. His cell was found ransacked that morning. He was never found. RCMP and parks officials commenced a month-long search, culminating in the discovery of Amanda Fisher's remains high in a tree in a severely contorted condition. Ballinger, Pierce, and Chambers remained missing. And then in 2014 was when we first met him.
Well, yeah.
Which was a few years ago. Wait, it's been about 3 years since his last sighting in the public. Nobody really knows what happened. All they know is an entire school of children went missing. And none of them were found. It was all the kindergartners, though, mostly, and all the younger children. And the reason that most of it was noticed was because it was most of the kindergartners, but especially one class, and all of them were taken, and their bodies were found in the forest of our town, here in Araby Lakes, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, that is the last time that anyone else has seen the Slender Man, because we've basically been stuck with him for a while, and the other people who've seen him have been killed. We're the only last remaining survivors of him. And we need to take him out somehow. We just need to and I think I know how. I'm going to explain it to you later.
Why not?